My name is Jeff Selby. I am the Communications Program Coordinator with the Office of Equity and Human Rights. In the Army, I was in for 10 years. I initially came in as a 31 Charlie, which is a single channel radio operator or combat teletype operator. And then I cross-trained into broadcast journalism, which was the 46 Romeo MOS.
I currently work for the Portland Police Bureau. I've been there about 3 years now. I'm a senior program manager. I was in the Air Force for 20 years, retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Security Forces career field. So it kind of translated over Security Forces, which is basically the Air Force's version of military police, into the Portland Police Bureau.
My name's Courtney Patterson. I'm the interim director for the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management, and before that as a Marine Corps logistics officer, and I got out as a first lieutenant.
Hi, my name is Kung Henry Kwa. I work for the Bureau of Development Service, record conversion as Technician 1. I was in the Army National Guard for 8 years, and my first MOS is 21 Bravo, which is Combat Engineer.
Hi, my name is Will Marita. I'm a Senior Housing Inspector with the Bureau of Development Services, and I'm currently serving in the Oregon Army National Guard as a Logistics Officer.
So my name is Tony Garcia, and I'm a Deputy City Attorney for the City of Portland. I've been with the city for about 5 years, and I am also a reservist in the Army Reserves. I am out of a unit in the Northeast region of the United States, and I handle criminal defense cases for the Northeast region.
My name is Lolita Henderson. I am a Building Inspector 1 with the Bureau of Development Services Residential Inspections, and I was in the United States Navy for 10 years as a hull technician, 3rd class.
So I was born in Southern California and moved to Portland when I was 4 years old, so essentially raised here in Portland, and then I enlisted at MEPS in Portland.
I was born and raised in Sacramento, California. I did something called ROTC, which is Reserve Officers Training Corps. So basically the military pays for you to go to college, and when you graduate, you owe them 4 years and you're an officer. So I was commissioned out of Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana.
I was born in Pasco, Washington, and I was raised here in Portland, and I joined the military here after high school.
I come from an Army family, so I was born at Walter Reed Hospital in Washington, D.C. And then from there, my family moved to Shape, Belgium. They took me with them. And then my father retired at Fort Benjamin Harrison in Indianapolis, and that's why I consider that my hometown. That's where he retired when I was about 5 years old.
I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, born in San Francisco, and then I was raised in Hayward, which is one of the little suburb cities around San Francisco. I joined the service actually from Portland because I came up here to go to college, graduated from Portland State, going through ROTC and moved straight into the Air Force after that.
So I was born in Los Angeles, California, and I grew up sort of there in between Guatemala, living with family until I started school. And then about the time we started school, I moved to Centralia, Washington, and grew up in a small town of about 10,000 people just an hour north of Portland. I then went to college in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown University, and then law school. So I actually didn't join the military until after I'd become a lawyer and practiced for a couple of years in private practice.
When I first got in the military, people would ask me where I'm from. I say I'm from Portland, Oregon. And their first reaction was, "There's black people in Portland?" I used to laugh at that because there's a whole bunch of us.
So I can't really say I know the life of a dependent kid, an Army brat by any means. Just a little bit, but not too much.
This is a great question. Well, you know, why did I join the service? This is one I've gotten for a long time, and I've never had a great answer.
So I enlisted right after I graduated from high school. I think like a lot of people, I just wasn't sure the path that I wanted to be on and just didn't know if I was ready for college yet. So, you know, I thought I would join the Army and try to grow up a little, maybe do some travel, and get some money for college.
I think the adventure, the most important thing to me and what I was really looking for was an adventure when I grew up. I was very active as a young kid. always doing things that were out of the norm for, a lot of people just wanted to sit at home and play video games because those were just up and coming when I was a kid. But I wanted to be outdoors and I wanted to be doing stuff. And I was extremely active. I played multiple sports. So I wanted something in my life that would be more active than sitting behind a desk.
I've long observed the military as an opportunity. For myself, I didn't have money for college. This was a way for me to get to college, and a lot of other people I saw, it was a way for them to have a career, to gain skill sets. It was really a place where individuals who were disadvantaged had a conduit, had a path to be able to make something of themselves and get somewhere that they would not have been able to otherwise, to get out of their hometown and find something new.
To me, I always wanted my legal work to have impact. I wanted to be growing individually and to see the value of my work. And the 2 years in private practice, I just sat in an office all day, and I didn't get to argue my own motions in court. I didn't get to try my own cases. So I just did a lot of report writing, and I worked very long hours, and I just wasn't happy.
I definitely went to school for free, which was a big plus. I liked that in the military, a lot was on merit, or at least I thought, you got promoted based on your performance, not who you were and who you knew. And to help people, I actually had already become interested in kind of the natural disaster response type stuff, and I was interested in that. So
one of my really good friends joined, and we were supposed to go in under the buddy team, but it didn't work out that way. So, but I still went in. I went in and I enjoyed it.
I think my dad is most motivation for me. He was in the South Vietnam soldier back in the day when he's like a warrant officer, and because of that, he able to brought my family and my siblings over to United States.
For me, it's an amazing sense of accomplishment, but I really enjoy the camaraderie of it as well. I may not agree politically with, with a lot of people, and the same is true in a group of veterans as well. But we have that common bond, right? We've all done something that's fairly similar. We've been through similar experiences, and although we're individuals, there's still this really fascinating organization now that we've experienced together.
I had this vision that I was going to be an astronaut when I grew up. And the quickest route to be an astronaut was you join the military, become a pilot, go to become a test pilot, and then join the space program. And that was my goal from probably, I don't know, the age of 6 or so when I really got into all the astronaut stuff. Sally Ride and watching her progression through astronaut training. It was really inspiring to me, and that's what I wanted to do. Doesn't always work out. I mean, I still joined the military, but not in that career path.
So I saw a posting for judge advocates, and I decided I would interview for it. During the process of the interview, I saw that they were going to be deploying to Iraq. They'd already known that a couple of years out, and so I made it very clear in my interview that if I joined, I wanted to go and do that type of rule of law work in Iraq with that unit. And so everything just kind of fell in place at the right time, and I left my job and I joined on a contingent basis where I served as a civilian attorney for the Army, but I was obligated to join the Army even if not admitted to the JAG Corps. But luckily I was admitted, and so I finished my training and returned here, I think, 2 days before I left to start my mobilization training to go to Iraq.
I know when I went to see a recruiter, he asked me where I wanted to go. And I told him the place I really wanted to go was Australia. And he's like, oh, no, you'll never go there. The ships don't go there. And I went twice.
I want to join the Army or the military very badly, but my parents say, no, you're the youngest one, so we want you to get, degree in education, and that's why the reason we come here. So I took their advice, and then I, went to the school, and got my master's degree in architecture. Went out and worked for the private public sector for a while, several firms, both in Portland and Seattle. And then the economy hit in 2008. They couldn't hang on with me much longer, so they ran out of work eventually. So and then I just went back and couldn't find any work in Portland here. So then that's when I decided to join the Army National Guard.
There were a lot of other benefits as well, you know, college tuition, and just an opportunity for gaining skills and, you know, seeing the world potentially.
And so I was able to have that experience of doing international work and work that's really fundamental to the core and spirit of why many students dream of becoming lawyers. I am the first in my family to join the service. My family's from Guatemala, and so first-generation immigrants here, and I was the first to graduate high school on both sides of my family and the first to join the military. It was something that my dad was proud of and was excited for me to do, but I think he was also worried that I wouldn't be using my education, and he sort of wondered why I went to undergraduate school and law school, and now I was going to join the Army.
My brother was Marine Corps, and then I had a cousin that was in the Air Force.
My father was in the Army. He was an Army officer and retired after, I think, 23 years.
Obviously, I was inspired by my family to join.
I don't think they were shocked because they knew what I wanted to be from a young age. I think my mom was a little worried because when I was going through school, it was in the time period of Desert Storm. So there were a lot of stories in the news, and of course moms get worried about stuff like that. But it didn't faze me at all, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I just kept pressing forward.
You know, being able to, you know, give back or pay back, if you would say, to United States, who, you know, which open arms to a lot of, you know, Vietnamese immigrants.
My great-grandfather actually immigrated here from Japan and took an enlistment in the U.S. Army and served as a radio operator and translator between the U.S. and Japan during World War I. My grandfather served in the 442nd Infantry during World War II after being in the internment camps, and he was an infantry soldier.
Yeah, growing up in a military family was interesting. It was, I imagine it was more strict than other families, but for the most part, nothing too unusual.
I was not the first in my family to join the military. Just unfortunately, my brother is 2 years older, but my family does not have a military background, but my brother went to the Air Force and he's still in.
My mom was proud of both of us being in the service because she knew we'd get a good education and learn some people skills and discipline, and so it was nice. Yeah.
My parents couldn't say no, so I was able to go training and come back to the state unit and be able to serve.
I think my family was excited, but they just didn't know what it meant. They just knew I was joining the Army, and like most Americans, they're patriotic and proud of America, and they were happy for me that I would be doing this.
Yeah, it's a big Army family. All of us were, if we're going to join the service, we were going to join the Army.
For the first time, I felt like I was in a place where I could achieve, where merit meant something, not just based on your background or your status coming in.
I really enjoy being a veteran because I think it at least tells me that I've accomplished something that I never thought I would be able to accomplish. And maybe others didn't think I could accomplish either.
Many people don't realize how broad the professions and jobs are in the Army, that we have people who are lawyers, commanders, policemen, all sorts of people doing the same jobs we do in the civilian world.
It's not just about deploying to combat zones and stuff like that. I mean, you spend a lot of time away from your family. You spend a lot of time working extra hours with zero extra pay. It's not like the military gets overtime. You lose holidays, you lose vacation days, but it's something that you kind of knew when you signed up, or at least hopefully you learned that fairly quickly after you signed up and joined.
take advantage of everything they have to offer. Education, travel. I mean, that was the best part to travel, but just take advantage of everything that they have to offer you, because they will give it to you freely. You just have to be there to take it.
It's set up for kind of the man to work and make all the money and the woman to stay at home and have kids. And it was really contrasted with the women who were in the Marine Corps, who were very outgoing and adventurous and, like, clearly, I mean, very physically fit and, you know, you have to be kind of out there as a woman to join the Marine Corps. And so there were these men that really thought that, and their wives who had these very traditional lifestyles, really contrasted with the women who were in that were kind of the opposite. So, I mean, that just repeated, I mean, endlessly until I got out.
The veteran means that, you know, the setup soldier that, you know, born to say, hey, I'm able to, you know, set aside everything else for my family, my education, or even children, you know, to go overseas to do their duty, answer their call. And those, I think, more special, I think, some, you know, because they basically, you know, giving up their life in the sense that they don't know what, you know, the tomorrow would be, or, you know, what their next convoy would be.
They see, you know, what's portrayed in movies and TV, and okay, that's like maybe 10% of the job when you're actually deployed or doing a certain task.
What I've seen with a lot of my fellow soldiers in the military is that they look very short-sighted, and they're often younger than I am. So they're looking at 6 weeks and 8 weeks as an eternity, or the 3 months of training, or 6 months.
To me, success would be, you know, finding fulfillment, being a productive member of society.
The one thing I really noticed is that we were all soldiers first. And whether you're in a combat site or, you know, even if you're doing radio and television, you're still doing, you know, physical training, you're still going to the range, you're still a soldier first. So I was always very impressed with how that didn't change, no matter what your job was. And I met a lot of different people in a lot of different MOSs. So that was, I think, the most impressive thing for me, that the expectation was you were going to be a soldier first, and then you had your job.
Back in the 50s and 60s, people were, like, proud that they were served in the military, you know what I mean? The people cheered them, you know. It just doesn't seem like that anymore. I don't know, it's not the same to me.